The Brickyard 400 is entering a new and unpredictable era, and for the first time in decades, Indianapolis Motor Speedway has no clear king sitting on the throne. For years, the legendary oval belonged to a select group of NASCAR icons: Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and Dale Jarrett drivers who repeatedly conquered one of the sport's most prestigious events. Their dominance created an image of the Brickyard as a race controlled by legends. But that era has disappeared, and now the crown remains without a ruler. The current generation has completely changed the landscape. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and defending winner Bubba Wallace are the only active drivers entering this weekend with Brickyard 400 victories, and none of them have won the oval race more than once. The idea of an Indianapolis specialist, the driver everyone fears before the green flag even drops, has vanished. Instead, NASCAR fans are preparing for a battle where almost anyone with the right car, strategy, and a little luck could kiss the bricks and become the next surprise champion of the Brickyard. However, not everyone believes this new unpredictability is a positive development. Some former drivers and longtime NASCAR observers argue that the disappearance of dominant Indianapolis figures has taken away part of the race's identity. Critics believe the Brickyard was special because it rewarded greatness over time, allowing elite drivers to build a legacy through repeated victories. They argue that the modern version, with late cautions, fuel gambles, and overtime chaos, has turned one of NASCAR's crown jewels into a survival contest rather than a true test of superiority. The criticism has intensified because of how recent Brickyard races have unfolded. The driver who leads the most laps has won only a handful of recent editions, while dramatic late race restarts have often decided the outcome. Fuel strategy, weather interruptions, and unpredictable cautions have become defining factors. Some fans have questioned whether Indianapolis is still rewarding the best driver in the field, or simply the team that can survive NASCAR's late race chaos. Yet supporters of the modern Brickyard argue that this unpredictability is exactly what makes the event exciting again. The next-gen car has reshaped the competitive balance, making it harder for one organization to completely dominate. Kyle Larson's 2024 victory and Bubba Wallace's dramatic 2025 triumph showed that winning at Indianapolis still requires speed, discipline, and smart decision-making. The difference is that today's champions must now survive a wild final chapter rather than simply control the entire afternoon. As the 2026 Brickyard 400 approaches, the biggest question is whether a new Indianapolis king is about to emerge. Larson appears to have the strongest modern claim after finishing first and second in the last two next-gen oval races. A major debate is brewing across the NASCAR garage as reports suggest the Cup Series is preparing to bring back longer practice sessions, a move that many fans have celebrated, but one that is already drawing fierce criticism from within the sport. At the center of the controversy is Freddie Kraft, spotter for 23X racing star Bubba Wallace, who believes the proposed change could create an unintended consequence, making races less exciting. While NASCAR appears determined to give teams more track time, some insiders fear the decision could actually reduce the unpredictability that has fueled some of the season's most entertaining battles. According to reports, NASCAR is expected to replace the current split group format with a single 50-minute practice session featuring the entire field on track. Teams would also receive 2 sets of tires, giving them significantly more opportunities to fine-tune their cars before qualifying and race day. On the surface, the move sounds like a victory for fans and competitors alike. However, Kraft argues that the additional track time may allow teams to eliminate mistakes and close performance gaps so effectively that passing becomes increasingly difficult once the green flag drops. Using last weekend's Atlanta race as an example, Kraft pointed to the chaotic opening stages that occurred when teams arrived with limited preparation. Drivers struggled to find the perfect setup, resulting in varying speeds throughout the field and creating opportunities for overtakes. In his view, that unpredictability is exactly what makes NASCAR racing compelling. The more time teams spend dialing in their cars, the smaller the performance differences become, and the more difficult it is for drivers to gain an advantage on the racetrack. His comments have sparked a wider discussion about whether NASCAR should prioritize competitive parity or technical perfection. Critics of the proposed changes argue that modern teams already possess enormous amounts of simulation data and engineering resources. Giving them even more practice time could further narrow the competitive window, leading to races where track position becomes more important than wheel-to-wheel action. For fans craving aggressive racing and dramatic comebacks, that possibility is raising serious concerns. Supporters of the change, however, see a completely different picture. They argue that longer practice sessions could provide a lifeline for smaller and mid-tier organizations that lack the advanced simulation tools available to powerhouse teams. With more time on track, underfunded teams would have a better opportunity to understand changing conditions, improve their setups, and potentially close the gap to the sport's elite. Ironically, a rule designed to level the playing field may end up benefiting the very teams NASCAR is trying to help. As NASCAR remains silent on the reported proposal, the controversy continues to grow. Denny Hamlin has ignited a fresh firestorm across the NASCAR world after publicly blasting NASCAR's decision to eliminate the regular season championship from the Cup Series. The timing could hardly be more controversial. Hamlin currently sits atop the standings with a commanding 68-point advantage and 4 victories, making him the overwhelming favorite to claim the honor. Yet just as he appears poised to secure the title, NASCAR has effectively erased it from existence, triggering accusations from fans that the sport is changing the rules in the middle of a historic campaign. The Joe Gibbs racing veteran did not hide his frustration during the latest episode of his Actions Detrimental podcast. Hamlin sarcastically suggested that NASCAR simply did not want him to become a champion, pointing out the irony that the award disappeared just as he was in position to win it. His comments immediately spread across social media, where supporters and critics alike debated whether NASCAR had devalued one of the few rewards for season-long excellence. For many fans, Hamlin's reaction captured a growing concern that consistency is no longer being rewarded the way it once was. The controversy goes far beyond one driver. NASCAR's new championship structure represents one of the most dramatic changes to the modern era of the sport. The elimination-style playoff format is being scrapped in favor of a system more closely resembling the original chase format. While NASCAR argues the overhaul will create a fairer and more compelling championship battle, critics are already questioning whether the new rules place too much emphasis on the final 10 races while diminishing the significance of the first 26. What has fueled even more debate is the treatment of the regular season points leader. Under the new format, the driver who dominates the opening portion of the season will no longer receive a trophy, championship designation, or official title. Instead, that driver receives only a modest playoff points advantage. In Hamlin's case, his current 68-point lead would be reduced to a relatively small edge once the postseason begins. The backlash has exposed a deep divide within the NASCAR community. Supporters of the changes argue that championships should be decided under maximum pressure, and that a tighter playoff battle will generate more excitement. Opponents counter that removing the regular season championship sends the wrong message to teams that spend months building consistency and accumulating points. They argue that a driver can dominate most of the year only to see much of that advantage wiped away when the playoffs begin. Despite his frustration, Hamlin remains one of the favorites to capture the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series title. His level of consistency has drawn comparisons to some of the greatest seasons in stock car racing history, and the number 11 Toyota continues to set the standard on many weekends.